Alright guys, so in our last video we left off, we got this rectangle UV laid out. So now here's where the real fun starts. We're going to decide the look and feel of what we're going to of what we want this garage to look like, what we want the exterior to look like. So yeah, we've got it UV laid out. So if we go back to our concept, you know, I don't think I really like the slate gray. If it's a little too boring for me, I want to like kind of something a little more modern but wood at the same time. I did find a pretty cool texture that I liked. It's what I'll be using. But yeah, just scour look for some reference photos. Look for what you like. I know these are pretty cool too. But whatever you want to do, it's up to you. Um, if you excuse, sorry about that. But if you want to go directly through Google, you can find some, if you just type like wood siding texture or metal siding texture, whatever, you can get some pretty decent seamless textures that pop up. Pretty nice. And then if you want to do an advanced search, you can make sure your image sizes are large. So, boom. So now I won't get, I'll get nice higher res photos only. But a really good website I like to use is CG Textures as well. Uh, a really great website for whatever you can think of. I already grabbed a texture that I'll grab the textures that I'll be using, but I went something like this just to show you, give you some ideas. Um, and what I do with all of my starting textures is I'll download them into my art asset folder. So you can see I have like a bunch of preloaded things ready to use for different projects. So I just take and you know use them. So yeah, that's the texture I'll be working with. If I open up Photoshop, actually we'll go back into Maya. So what we're gonna want to do is we're gonna export this out. So with your object selected, I'm gonna go to polygons up here in the UV window, UV snapshot, and you can see that in our project directory, it's already gonna default to the images folder in there. That's where it's gonna send this picture of the UV, and I'll just call this same thing as what I called the model wall 5 side. And I I'm gonna work in a 2K square, so a 2048 by a 2048. That's what everything for me is gonna be in throughout this project. You can go as high as you want. You can bump it all the way up to 4K if you want to. But for me, I'm just gonna stick with the 2K square. I like to save it out as a PNG image format. It preserves the transparency, so all we get is a line data. We're not going to get like a white background when we put it into Photoshop. We're just going to get just line data. And I like to change it to, this is your color value for your line. I like to have it like a nice bright neon green, just because it's not gonna, I mean, just like using a green screen, it's not, a lot of things you're gonna use aren't gonna be this color. So UV range, so we'll just hit OK, exports it out. And if we jump over into Photoshop, we'll go into our project directory folder, scene, images, and there it is. This is from an earlier test, but here you can see this is our new UV. So we just click that, we'll drag it right up into Photoshop like that, and there you go. See, just line data. There's nothing else in the background, so we'll name this right away to UV. Make a new layer, put that below it, and I just like having a background on it. So boom, you can see that there. Good deal. And then go to my textures here, and I'll pull this texture in, drag it up so it's on its own. You can see that it's locked. If you just double click that, you get this. Boom, hit OK, unlocks it, and I'll just simply take this and drag it in. And this is a seamless texture, so all I'm going to do, I'm going to put it like that. I'm going to hit Control J, duplicate it, bring it over, and then same thing. I'll select both of them, Control J, and just move it down. So yeah, we're basically just going to be making a wood material like this, a wood siding material. So I'm not going to like keep them in the lines or anything. You know, we're just going to make this whole thing, um, this whole square, this pattern, and then when we bring it back into Maya, you'll see what it's all about. So I'm just going to group it up, keep it somewhat organized. I'll just wood. So boom, we got that ready to go. We'll turn off the UVs and go to File, Save As, and save the Photoshop file in the Images folder, just like that. Then we'll go to File, Save As again. I like to use a Targa for this. And we're going to go up and we're going to go into our Source Images folder. That's where Maya's going to read this texture from. I like to use Targas because they're a lossless format, just like, so basically like if you use like a JPEG, it's going to, you know, if you read and write to it so many times, the image quality will deteriorate. But with Targas, you don't get that. So mainly Targas are lossless, like lossless file format PNGs. You get to preserve transparencies. Uh, so that's ready to go. Go open Maya, and we'll make a new material for this. So we got our test texture. We'll assign new material. The three main ones that I use, you're gonna find yourself using are gonna be your Lambert, your blends, and your Fawn shader. Your Lambert is just like your just very basic shader. You know, you get your color, your transparencies, and that's about it. Blends, they're more reflective. Uh, you know, so you're gonna want to use those for plastics. That's mainly what they're used for, is plastics. And then Fawns, the Fawn shader, if I remember correctly, was originally developed to make bubbles back in the day. It was to make a bubble, but so you get a lot more like transparency options, and so it's a really good one to use for glass and glass bubbles. And well, it's really everything. You can use it for metals too, things like that. For this, since we are using wood, we're just gonna give it a Lambert, something basic, because it's not gonna be reflective or anything like that. We don't need to worry about that. Um, and we'll just name this wood. No, actually, let's just name it. Let's keep everything uniform. Wall 5 side, just so we know where everything is gonna go together. Great. So we got that. I want to delete my history. Edit, delete all by type. History. Get rid of that gunk. And then we'll go to our color channel on that. Same thing. Just go off our file folder, and then we'll grab that Targa, put it on there, and boom, there it is. So you got this texture working on here. You know, it looks so yeah, it gives it a lot more character, and then now we can actually duplicate this. We'll just start building our main wall here, like that. So, you know, good, we got it working. It's seamless, it works. No matter how many, you know, we can tile it along and it all works together, which is really nice. But, you know, it's just a 2D texture at this point, so it's flat, you know, we don't have a lot going on here. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna export this out into Mudbox, our sculpting package, and we're gonna create a normal map for this. And what it's gonna do is we're gonna give some depth and height information to put on here, so it just gives it a little more characteristics. Makes it look a little more believable. So edit, delete all by type history. We go on our channel. I just want to make sure everything's good. Actually, let's put everything at 0 for the height. Anyway. Alright, so Maya's got some pretty good. Autodesk has really kind of helped out the workflow a little bit. You can see that we can export this out directly, um, either into 3ds Max, Mudbox, or to a game engine, Unity or Unreal. Yeah, but we're gonna send it right into Mudbox, sculpt it out. But there's some things we need to do first. First, we should have saved this a long time ago, but let's do that right now. So we're gonna go File, Save As. And these are some old tests. I'm going to save right over them, actually. Yes. Good. Alright, awesome. So now that we're saved, definitely want to save often. Save in versions, save often. So right now we don't have any subdivisions going on here. We're going to need to add some edge loops along the sides just to hold the shape together when we bring it into our sculpting program. So I'm just going to go to my multi-cut tool. And you can do this either way. Multi-cut, you can do some some kind of weird cuts with it if you want to, like that. Hit Control Z. That's just to show you. If you hit Control, I can get an edge loop. If you just go to Mesh Tools, you can let's see, Edit Mesh. Mesh Tools should be in Mesh Tools. Insert Edge Loop Tool. Same deal, and you get that going on as well. So I'm gonna bring that up right near the corner, right near the top. Hold that together, and I'm gonna put some on the sides as well. So if we didn't do this and we brought this into sculpting package and then we started subdividing it, it would basically turn into a sphere, and we don't want that. So we'll just do that, hold it together. And then I want to divide it up equally here as well. So if I double click this, the tool, we can go to a multiple edge loop tool, and I'm just going to add 5 in there. And if we do that, it's going to evenly distribute them up along the model. So I'm going to do that, and that's just to give it some more data to work with. Reset tool. Great. And then since these don't have that, we'll just delete them. And you can see that after I UV'd it out on the very basic state, when I added those in, they automatically went in there. So it's pretty good. Kind of try and UV out models in their low poly state. UV them out as soon as you can, so you get it kind of built together, and everything will kind of automatically fall into place. You will still need to do some tweaking if this was like a head or something, a human's face, then we would need to do some tweaking. But this is fine. We're just working with a basic square rectangle, so we're fine. And go to File. Let's send it to Mudbox. So send as a new scene. Connect to Mudbox. It should open up Mudbox here in just a second. I'm going to pause the video so you don't have to wait for me to load on. Alright guys, so boom, there it is. We're in Mudbox now. You can see this is our model. We go to our layers. I want to make sure we're in the sculpt layer. Here it is. This is the base one. And we're just going to pump up the subdivisions on this so we can get some detail out of it. Basically, and yeah, before we get started, my main goal here is we're just going to follow along the texture. And we're just going to sculpt some things in, make some dents, sculpt some things out just to, like this stuff in here, just to really give it some character. So if I hit Shift D, we're going to add subdivisions to this. So you can see this, you get a little stretching. That's why we put those edge loops there, to try and hold it together a little bit. Shift D, and we just keep going. And yeah, we're going to bump it up. You can see it's kind of exponentially making new subdivisions every time we go. I'm going to take it right up to 1,000,000. If I hit Control B, I can bring my brush down a little bit. I'm going to be working with a tablet. I've got a little Hurion tablet here. Cost me about like 70 bucks, you know, so you don't have to go like fancy on it. It's like about a foot. I got a foot of space on it. Got 2048 points of pressure, I believe, on it. Just like a $300 Wacom tablet, really, and a few and hotkeys on the side. So, yeah, I know Wacom is more of an expensive brand. They are nice though. I've used quite a few, and but I'm just saying you don't have to go fancy to get something pretty comparable. So that's what I'm gonna be using. If you're gonna be using your mouse, it's gonna be pretty much the same thing. I've got basically the only things that got hotkeyed on my pen are one of the buttons is a middle mouse, and then the other button is a right click, and then obviously pushing down is a using as a left click. So right now I'm just gonna make a new sculpt layer, and we're all just gonna do this in one pass. But if you were gonna do something more complex, you know, say if I was touching up, again going back to the face reference, if I was touching up the nose, and then I wanted to go down and touch up the mouth a little bit, and then come back up, touch up the eyebrows. You know, we would make different sculpt layers for each area. So working in a non-destructive way. Um, so yeah, so let's just jump in. Let's get started. I've got my sculpt ready here. I just want to check a few things. Make sure it's gonna work. Yep. So that's looking good as is. There's some other things you can use, like if you want to use a steady stroke, you can turn that on and give you a little distance. So like you get this arrow, and then you can kind of just guide it along like this. You get a little better. You get more control out of it. I don't think I could really see if I just try and do this free-handed. I guess I just feel like I have a lot more control with the steady stroke than with my regular hand, but just some things for you. And then the erase tool. Let's erase that. Let's make that. Let's get that stuff out of there. Alright, so let's just jump in. If I hit Alt and my middle mouse, I can pan around. Alt right click, I can zoom in. And you could use your mouse wheel to zoom in and out if you wanted to. So we're just going to start up here. Bring this down. And really just going to hit kind of like the major points on this. So you can see, I like this area. There's like it's kind of indented a little bit. I'm gonna hold my control key, and so instead of sculpting out, it's gonna push it in. And that's a little too much, so I'm gonna hit Control Z. I'm gonna bring my strength down a little bit on here. Just bump it down to like 50%. That's better. If you're using a mouse, you probably want even lower. I'm using my pen so I can get some, you know, I get like the pressure sensitivity on it, and that's even too high too, so let's bring it down to like 30, something like that. That's a little better. That's better. I get more control out of it that way. Down here we've got some stamps and stencils that you can use. Um, I have, if you can see in my custom, my assets folder, excuse me, I do have a place for my Mudbox stencils. That's actually where I have this stuff linked up, so it reads those stencils from. So if I go to stencil and I go to add stencil, you can make custom stencils. Basically, yeah, I'll show you what a stencil will look like. I've actually made this into a custom stencil already, and I just took the texture. If you really wanted to make it a little more customized, we would take it into Photoshop, turn it black and white, and mess with the contrast a little bit to get some more height information out of it. Black and white, basically. So here's what that is. So yeah, normally, you know, in most cases, I wouldn't bring a model in with a texture on it. I would work with some stencils to give it some actual texture, but I figured this way we're gonna be doing the same thing. It's gonna be better if I can just have the actual texture on it, so I know where everything is, where to line everything up at. But I got the stencil right here. If I hit S and right click, I can scale it down, and we can play with like the visibility a little bit. And so basically, we can draw over it, and you can see that we get it's gonna use that black and white information to kind of see which places are gonna be higher and lower and whatnot in the model. But haven't again, if we were gonna actually use that, I would take it into Photoshop, make it a little more black and white, mess with the contrast on it, um, to really make it pop. Just an example there. And your stamp is gonna be kind of the same thing. Not really. Oh shoot, crashed it. Alright, sorry about that. I'm gonna have to start over on that. I'll pause it here real quick and fix it. Alright, we're back. Alright, so yeah, let's just move on. I think maybe Maya's just getting tired of listening to me ramble on in Mudbox. Sorry, so that's why it crashed on me. So we're just gonna get right into it. So, boom, scale that down. And actually, let me see if I can. Nope, not gonna work for me. Hmm. Odd. Okay. Not liking it when I'm on the sculpt layer, so that's fine. Whatever. You do you, man. Alright, so let's just get in here. And, just have some fun. We're just gonna come through and just massage this up a little bit, let's bring the strength down. Again. We're just gonna go through and hit it, Just rough it up, basically. Beat it up, because it's wood, That's how it's supposed to look. It's like in here. And we'll just bring that out. Let's just assume that kind of goes all the way out. And then we'll kind of smooth it out too. Bring up the smooth tool and just, yeah. So, I mean, it should be roughed up a little bit, but not like, shouldn't be jaggedy. Not too jaggedy anyway. Let me see, that wax tool builds up a surface. Okay, what's the scrape tool do? Kind of does the same thing. Ah, okay. So here, let's do this. Whoa! Too much. Okay. Let's bring that strength way down. I'm thinking if we want to do those kind of indented areas, I'll sculpt up around them. Let's use a regular sculpt tool. Let's sculpt up around it, just kind of see how it looks. And scrape that stuff off in there. Yeah, screw it. Just erase it. Okay, smooth that out. What do I got for stencils? Let's play around with some stencils. Kind of like oh, that's brick. I figure we can kind of speed this up. We'll just throw some random kind of heights in there. But you see, these are like all what it comes preloaded with. You can see that they're already set in black and white. That's what you're gonna want. We'll see. Oh, this might be good. Here, let's use this. Let's rotate it. Rotate stencils S left button. You're gonna rotate? And you're gonna... Oh, yeah, duh. There we go. Let's do that. This will probably just work better. Oh, smoothing it. Let's sculpt it out. There we go. We can just kind of add some randomness in there. Just kind of really mess with the wood a little bit. And I think you can have it to like stay on, I think, but maybe not. I don't know. It's kind of annoying. Let's scale it up. We're just gonna, oop, not too much. Yeah, just give it a light touch. I don't want it too much. Just want to make some kind of some cool height information. Let's scale that thing down. And yeah, try not to go too bonkers with it, but kind of really sneak them into like the creases. And that's why I like using the pen tool. A tablet and a pen, because I can kind of get a little more precise in there. Yeah, up here we're gonna have to fix that. And that too. Whoops. What did I just do? Control Z. I'm gonna turn that strength down too. There we got like all this rough area going on. Just come over there. Paint in there. And yeah. I'm just kind of doing this pretty quick, so I don't bore you guys out of your minds. But yeah, if you want to, spend some more time on it, by all means, the more massage you can give it, the better. But yeah, we just kind of want to, we'll get this rocking and rolling here. Kind of just add some overall roughness to the piece. And we'll give it a good texture kind of going on. We'll go back over too, and we'll hit some of the big spots and massage it up a little bit. So how's that look? Bring that out. Bring this up. And Q to hide. Cool. And let me just kind of touch up the edges here too. Give it a little something. Cause yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's sucked in those. I think it sucked in the subdivisions that we laid out in Maya. I don't know what the heck happened there. Oh, I know why I did that. If you do, I know why I did that. If you do want to redo it, should have added some subdivisions here on this side. Use my multi-cut tool. That's what I should have done. I can update it. Let's see what let's see what happens when I update it. Oh, here. Let's make sure we just have it selected. Oops. Select tool. Let's update. Alright, I'll pause it for you, so you don't have to wait on it. Alright, so I tried and didn't work. So if you stop yourself, if you're gonna do that from my end of my box like I did, I just crashed it. So yes, I wasted a lot of time there, and you guys have listened to me ramble on here. I'll have to come back and touch this up, but let's see, what was that stencil we were working with earlier? I'm just gonna give it a quick pass over now. Oh, here. That was my stamp off. Let's go to my stencils. Alright, let me just breeze over this real quick. Just gonna get in there. I'm just gonna scribble a good texture over it. Call it a day. I'll come back and touch this up, but I just want to get you guys moving along for other things to show you. Doesn't mean I have to do too shitty of a job though. Touch up the edges. Cool. I actually almost like it better this pass. So awesome. And that stuff happens all the time too. You know, you got your happy little accidents that happen, and yeah, that actually does look pretty decent. um, yeah. So I mean, everything happens for a reason. So cool. So yeah, it looks nice and textured. Looks pretty sweet. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save this, save scene as, and it'll go into scenes. So it'll save it as a Mudbox folder. So I'm gonna do this as wall 5 side sculpt 001, just in case I want to sculpt some different versions. All right, cool. So we got that ready. So this is about 1.8 million polygons, the one I've got going on right now. So we don't want to put that in a game engine. That's a lot to take in. You know, that's a lot versus the whole, I don't know, less than 30 we got going on here. 30 polygons going on here, 40, 50, something like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a program called XNormal, and we're going to generate we're going to generate what's called a normal map. And basically it's an illusion. So it's like a 2D texture that we can use to make an optical illusion of like this actual mesh information. So it's pretty sweet. So what we're gonna do is actually gonna export these both out as FBXs as well. So select objects in Mudbox first. I'm gonna do my high poly, and we're gonna see export the selection FBX, and this is linked up to a different one. So I have to go back. Just yeah, find that folder, video, scenes, and we'll call this side 5 wall sculpt FBX. Save. And as soon as it's done exporting, I'm just going to shut it down. Yep, save. Same thing in here. Go File, export the selection. Should already be there. We'll call it side 5 wall low poly FBX. Let's save, and let's just save this whole thing. Save seeing as. Good. Minimize that. Minimize. I'm gonna open up XNormal. Just do a quick Google for it. You'll find it. It's free, and it's a very powerful program, and it's very nice. So we're gonna start. We're gonna click our high definition mesh. I'm just gonna clear this, and if we go into our folder here, I'm gonna go to scenes, and we'll find that that high poly one that we did. So sculpt FBX, drag that into our high definition mesh, low definition, clear that, and we're gonna select our low poly FBX, boom, put that in there. Baking options, I'm gonna select where we want the output file to go, and I set it in. I'm gonna go to my garage scene, and I'm gonna set that in our source images folder, and we're gonna call this side 5 wall normal. Save it. Renderer, just keep that as that. Anti-aliasing, I use 4. Anti-aliasing is gonna smoothen up your edges, basically. Again, I worked at a 2048 for my texture, so that's 2K square, so that's gonna use in here. And yeah, you're good to go. So this is all different stuff we don't have to worry about, and we're gonna generate a map, and it's gonna just render that out. And I'll pause the video. You can see it's loading up. I'll pause it for you so you don't have to. Alright, so that's all done. Yeah, you see that you've got this this map that it generated for you, and it just takes the height data from that high poly mesh and makes this color map that we got kind of going on here. It's this lavender would be basically 0, flat, and then we get up to like this cyan color, and that's like the highest point of the thing, and then it just uses the height map for different shades in between, and that's how we get this map. Close it out. Close you out, and we'll go back into Maya. So we've got our model. Go in our attribute editor and edit, delete all by type history. So here's our shader. We're gonna go into our bump mapping. That's where we're gonna put our normal map in. We'll boom, file, boom, open, and here it is. This is the folder we want. So boom, open that up, and there you go. Now you've kind of got that sculpt information that we saw, and you see it is a black and white map. So if we get if we're again looking at this parallel, you can see that it starts to look flat, and when we're looking at it perpendicular, it looks a little more 3D. So it's just an optical illusion to give us that illusion of texture. And we probably will have to clean this up. It's a little intense, especially when we get up close. But you know, when we render out, it might look a little different too. So yeah, you've been sitting here rambling, listening to me ramble on for about 40 minutes. So I'm gonna cut the video off here, and in our next video, we'll we'll get our kit bash going. We'll look into a little rendering just to see how it looks. We'll take it into a game, and I think we're gonna, yeah, I think in the next video I'll take it right into Unreal, and we'll see how it looks in Engine too. Just so I like to keep an eye on everything as we go, so we can fail early and you know, detect problems as soon as possible. So thanks for watching, and tune in to the next video. will it'll be great. So thank you.